Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into what is literally a modern geopolitical thriller. But the star of this story isn't a spy or a secret agent. It's dirt. Well, specifically, a group of unseen, highly specialized rocks that are quietly powering almost every single piece of technology in our modern world. And right now, as we speak, the entire globe is engaged in a high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar scramble to secure them.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the 2025 supply chain shock. Look at what makes up the backbone of modern tech. Dig into China's monopoly, explore the massive $10 billion hunt, and finally, look at the incredibly slow road to independence. Part 1, the 2025 supply chain shock. This is where the global panic really kicks off.
Cast your mind back to April 2025. The US-China trade war essentially reboots. The returning Trump administration implements sweeping new tariffs on Chinese imports. And in response, Beijing didn't just fire back a standard diplomatic warning. They pulled out what industry insiders literally call their rare earth bazooka. They slapped strict export controls on rare earths. Just like that, the curtain was pulled back, exposing exactly how deeply dependent Western manufacturing still is on Chinese supply lines.
The fallout was instantaneous. We are talking immediate panic. Detroit automotive CEOs shot an urgent, crystal-clear message straight to the White House. If you do not get those permanent magnets, we're going to have to start shutting factories. Think about the stakes here for a second. This wasn't some abstract policy debate. Without these specific materials, the entire U.S. auto assembly line was staring down a complete, catastrophic shutdown.
Which brings us to part 2, the backbone of modern tech. Let's briefly review. What exactly are rare earths anyway? So, rare earths are a family of 17 chemically similar metallic elements. But honestly, it's not really about what they are, it's about what they do. These elements are the absolute essential ingredient for creating incredibly powerful high-performance magnets. And the heavy rare earths, those are the holy grail. They are insanely expensive and heavily sought after because they allow these magnets to resist extreme heat and demagnetization.
And because they can take the heat, these magnets let us shrink down our tech while drastically cranking up the power. We're talking about the guts of our cell phones, the massive electric motors spinning inside wind turbines, and the heart of every single electric vehicle. But crucially, it goes way beyond everyday civilian gadgets. These elements are an absolute, non-negotiable necessity for advanced defense and missile systems. Literally, the entire global high-tech economy runs on these obscure rocks.
So part 3, China's rare earth monopoly. How exactly did one player end up holding all the chips?
And this brilliantly illustrates just how wildly unbalanced things are right now. Look at the refining process and magnet production. China controls a jaw-dropping 90% of global capacity. The entire rest of the world combined, just 10%. The whole global supply chain is, for all intents and purposes, built directly around Beijing.
How did this happen? Well, pulling the ore out of the dirt, step 1, is actually the easy part. The real choke point is step 2, the insanely complex chemistry needed to separate and refine each element. It's wildly expensive and, frankly, incredibly damaging to the environment. It generates massive amounts of toxic and radioactive waste. For decades, Western nations were perfectly happy to offshore that dirty work. Because of that, China built massive refining hubs like Baotou in Inner Mongolia, which is now the undisputed heavyweight champion of rare earth production.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the human element behind the monopoly. You can't just wish a supply chain into existence. You need serious industrial muscle and, above all, the right skills. Get this. In a recent year, the US pumped out 35,000 new lawyers, but only 350 mining engineers. Compare that to China. They literally have a dedicated mining and engineering university with 25,000 undergraduate students alone. China hasn't just invested in mines, they've gone all in on competence and human capital, making their processing efficiency virtually impossible to beat overnight.
But it actually wasn't always like this. Believe it or not, from the 1950s right through the 80s, the US was the biggest global player. But China caught up fast, treating rare earths as a vital strategic industry. In fact, China's late paramount leader, Deng Xiaoping, famously declared that while the Middle East has its oil, China has its rare earths. And the world actually got a sneak preview of this immense leverage back in 2010, when China briefly cut off exports to Japan over a territorial dispute. It was a short shock, sure, but it was a glaring early warning that eventually led right up to those massive 2025 export restrictions against the US.
Moving on to part 4, the $10 billion hunt, the intense global scramble to finally break the monopoly.
Those events in 2025 proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that relying on cheap, reliable Chinese magnets was a luxury the world simply couldn't afford anymore. The race to fix this single-point failure was officially on in earnest. And the major players? They are moving fast. Over in Australia, Lynas operates the biggest processing site outside of China. They actually managed to break the monopoly on separated heavy rare earths recently, landing a massive Department of Defense contract. Down in Brazil, a company called Meteoric Resources is sitting on an estimated 1.5 billion tons of rare earth clay, racing to develop sustainable separation tech. And stateside, MP Materials got a $400 million stake straight from the Pentagon. And that Pentagon backing really highlights the sheer urgency here. After the US war with Iran, the Pentagon's advanced weapons stocks were rapidly depleted, burning through more than half of their pre-war inventory of expensive munitions that absolutely, fundamentally require rare earths to replace.
Finally, part 5, a slow road to independence. Here's why this path is going to be incredibly difficult.
$10 billion. Let that massive number sink in for a second. That is the estimated amount of public funds expected to be pumped into rare earth ventures outside of China in 2026 alone. It's a colossal turnaround. It shows that Western governments are willing to step in and basically backstop these companies so China can't just squeeze their margins and flush them out of the market. But we have to temper our expectations here. Remember that 2010 Japanese embargo we just talked about? Over a 15-year period of relentless, dedicated effort following that shock, Japan only managed to drop its reliance on China from 90% down to about 60 or 70%. Rebuilding this kind of supply chain from scratch is just agonizingly slow.
So we are left with this final, burning question. Can the rest of the world actually break the monopoly by 2030? Well, based on all the data we've explored in this explainer, the harsh truth is that total independence just isn't the immediate reality. The monopoly isn't going to totally vanish in the next 5 years. But if by 2030, companies can source 40% of their materials from the rest of the world, or maybe reach a 50-50 market split with places like the US, Australia, and Brazil actually turning out commercial-scale magnets, that right there is considered a major, major win. The $10 billion hunt is officially on, but will it be enough to rebalance the scales of modern technology? That is something we'll all be watching very closely. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.